In the sprawling, often unforgiving favelas of Guarujá, São Paulo, a young boy named Charles Oliveira da Silva began a journey that seemed impossible. His world was one of poverty. It was a place where dreams were often overshadowed by the daily struggle for survival. Charles grew up with very little, but he possessed a spirit that could not be broken by his circumstances. He learned early on that life was a fight, a lesson that would serve him well in the years to come. This environment, while difficult, built a foundation of resilience and determination within him. He saw the world not for what it lacked, but for what could be achieved through hard work and faith. The challenges for young Charles were not just financial. A devastating health crisis struck him when he was just a child. Doctors diagnosed him with rheumatic fever and a severe heart murmur. The prognosis was grim. They told his family that he might never walk again, that he could be paraplegic. This news could have been a crushing blow, ending any hope for an active life. For many, this would have been the end of the story. But for Charles and his family, it was simply another obstacle to overcome. They refused to accept this fate, holding on to a belief that a different path was possible for their son. His childhood was spent not running and playing like other kids, but battling a serious illness. The pain in his body was constant, a daily reminder of the limitations doctors had placed upon him. Yet, within this frail body, a powerful will was growing stronger every day. He yearned for a normal life, a life where he could move freely and chase his dreams. This period of his life, filled with uncertainty and physical suffering, was a crucible. It forged an unbreakable mental toughness. He learned to endure pain and to push forward even when every odd was stacked against him, a quality that would later define his career. This early adversity shaped the man who would become known to the world as Do Bronx. The name itself is a tribute to his humble origins, a proud declaration of where he came from. The favela was his Bronx. It was his proving ground. Every hardship he faced, from poverty to a life-altering illness, became a source of strength. He was not defined by his struggles. He was refined by them. This boy, who was told he might never walk, was unknowingly preparing to one day walk into the world's most famous arena and become a champion for the ages. At the age of 12, Charles Oliveira's life changed forever. A neighbor introduced him and his brother to a social project that offered free Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes. This was more than just a sport. It was an escape and a new beginning. On the mats, Charles found a world where his physical limitations seemed to fade away. He discovered a passion that ignited a fire within him. Jiu-jitsu gave him a sense of purpose and belonging that he had never known before. It was a place where discipline and technique mattered more than a person's background or physical strength, and he fell in love with its intricate art. The doctor's warnings were still fresh in his mind, but the pull of jiu-jitsu was stronger. He dedicated himself completely to the craft. He spent countless hours training, absorbing every technique and lesson his instructors offered. The gentle art, as it is known, became his sanctuary. It taught him leverage, control, and patience. On the mats, he could move with a grace and fluidity that defied his medical diagnosis. He quickly showed a natural talent for the sport, progressing at a remarkable pace. His instructors saw something special in him, a relentless drive and an intuitive understanding of the submission game. His dedication paid off. Charles began competing in local and regional jiu-jitsu tournaments, and he started winning. His collection of medals grew, each one a testament to his hard work and a defiance of the fate doctors had predicted for him. The pinnacle of his early martial arts journey came when he earned his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This was not just a colored belt, it was a symbol of his transformation. It was proof that he had conquered his illness and had mastered a complex and demanding discipline. The black belt opened doors for him, giving him the confidence to dream bigger. With a black belt wrapped around his waist, Charles saw a clear path forward. He knew that his future was in combat sports. The success he found in jiu-jitsu was the foundation upon which he would build his professional fighting career. It gave him an identity beyond being a poor kid from the favela who was once sick. He was now a martial artist, a legitimate threat on the ground. This expertise would become his greatest weapon, the core of his fighting style that would eventually lead him to the global stage of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, where he would put his skills to the ultimate test. In August 2010, a young and promising Charles Oliveira made his UFC debut. He arrived with a perfect professional record and a reputation as a jiu-jitsu prodigy. His first fight was a stunning success. He secured a submission victory in just 41 seconds, immediately putting the featherweight division on notice. It seemed like the beginning of a flawless ascent to the top. He followed this with another impressive submission win, earning his first submission of the night bonus. The hype was real. Fans and analysts believed a new star had arrived, a fighter destined for greatness with a ground game that seemed unstoppable. However, the UFC is a notoriously unforgiving league. The initial success was soon followed by a period of harsh lessons. Charles experienced the bitter taste of defeat for the first time in his professional career. He faced a step up in competition, and the results were mixed. His early career became a pattern of wins and losses, a roller coaster of spectacular victories and frustrating setbacks. One of the biggest obstacles he faced was the grueling weight cut to 145 pounds. The process drained his body, often leaving him depleted and vulnerable on fight night. He missed weight on several occasions, which added to his struggles and created doubts about his professionalism. These challenges tested his resolve. The bright-eyed newcomer was now a veteran of the octagon's highs and lows. Tough losses to established names like Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar, and Max Holloway were difficult to swallow. Some critics began to label him as inconsistent, a fighter who had immense talent but couldn't perform when the lights were brightest. They questioned his durability and his heart, pointing to moments where he seemed to break under pressure. It was a difficult time for Oliveira, as he grappled with finding his footing in the world's premier mixed martial arts organization while carrying the weight of high expectations. Despite the setbacks, Charles never lost faith in himself or his abilities. Each loss was a learning experience. He continued to work tirelessly, determined to close the gaps in his game. He knew that his jiu-jitsu was world-class, but he also understood that he needed to evolve to compete with the elite. This period of struggle was crucial for his development. It humbled him and forced him to grow. It was in these moments of adversity, away from the spotlight, that the foundation for his future championship run was quietly being laid, brick by painful brick. Every great comeback story has a turning point, a single moment where the narrative begins to shift. For Charles Oliveira, that moment came on June 9, 2018. He was stepping into the octagon to face a tough and durable veteran, Clay Guida. At this point, Oliveira's career was at a crossroads, defined by its inconsistency. But on this night, something clicked. He secured a first-round victory with a powerful guillotine choke, a signature move. This win was significant not just for ending a recent loss, but for its historical importance. It was his 10th submission in the UFC, tying him with the legendary Royce Gracie for the most in the company's history. This achievement was more than just a statistic. It was a profound moment of validation. Tying a record held by Royce Gracie, the man who first showed the world the power of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the UFC, connected Oliveira directly to the roots of the sport. It was a reminder of his own identity as a Jiu-Jitsu master. The victory seemed to unlock a new level of confidence in him. It was as if he finally embraced his greatest strength without reservation. From this point forward, he was no longer just a talented fighter, he was a finisher on a historic mission. The win over Guida ignited an incredible run. It was the start of a winning streak that would see Oliveira transform from a talented but flawed contender into an unstoppable force. He followed up the Guida victory by breaking the submission record in his very next fight against Christos Giagos. Then, he went on a rampage. He submitted respected veterans like Jim Miller and David Taymor. He moved up to the lightweight division permanently, where he looked stronger and healthier, no longer depleted by the harsh weight cut. He was fighting with a newfound aggression and a killer instinct that was undeniable. This streak was not just about submissions. Oliveira began to showcase a dramatically improved striking game. He started finishing fights on the feet, adding a dangerous new dimension to his arsenal. He earned a knockout victory over Jared Gordon and a dominant submission win over Kevin Lee, in which he famously declared, "The lightweight division has a new problem. His name is Charles Oliveira." The culmination of this run was a masterclass performance against Tony Ferguson, a fighter who was then considered one of the best lightweights in the world. Oliveira dominated Ferguson for 3 rounds, proving he belonged at the very top of the division. After his dominant victory over Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira could no longer be denied. He had assembled one of the most impressive winning streaks in the lightweight division's history. The UFC's most coveted prize, the lightweight championship, was vacated, and Oliveira was finally given his chance to fight for the gold. His opponent was Michael Chandler, a powerful and explosive wrestler with knockout power. The stage was set for UFC 262 on May 15, 2021. This was the moment Charles had been working toward his entire life, from the favelas of Guarujá to the bright lights of Houston, Texas. The championship fight was a perfect reflection of Oliveira's career. It was a battle filled with heart-stopping adversity and incredible resilience. In the first round, Chandler hurt Oliveira badly. He dropped him with a powerful punch and swarmed him on the ground. It looked like the dream might be over. The old criticisms about Oliveira's durability resurfaced in that single terrifying moment. Many fighters would have folded under such an onslaught, but Charles survived. He weathered the storm, showing the same grit and toughness that he had learned as a child. He made it to the end of the round, his spirit unbroken. The second round began, and a different Charles Oliveira emerged from the corner. He came out with ferocious intent. Just seconds into the round, he landed a perfectly timed, razor-sharp left hook that sent Chandler stumbling to the canvas. Oliveira rushed in, not with wild abandon, but with the calculated precision of a seasoned finisher. A few follow-up shots were all it took for the referee to step in and stop the fight. The arena erupted. Charles Oliveira, the boy who was told he might never walk, had knocked out one of the most dangerous men in the division to become the undisputed UFC lightweight champion of the world. The celebration was pure, unadulterated emotion. Charles leaped over the cage and screamed with joy, a release of all the years of struggle, doubt, and hard work. He had reached the pinnacle of the sport. His journey from the favelas, his battle with illness, his inconsistent early career, and his incredible winning streak had all led to this one perfect moment. He was a champion, not just for himself, but for his family, his community, and for everyone who had ever been told they couldn't achieve their dreams. O campeão tem nome. The champion has a name, and his name is Charles Oliveira. Winning the title was one thing, but defending it is what really solidifies a champion's legacy. Charles Oliveira's first title defense came against Dustin Poirier at UFC 269 in December 2021. Poirier was a heavy favorite, a powerful striker who had just beaten Conor McGregor twice. Once again, Oliveira had to walk into the octagon as the underdog. And once again, the fight tested his championship heart. In the first round, Poirier dropped Oliveira, and honestly, it seemed like he had him in serious trouble. But just as he did against Chandler, Oliveira endured the storm, showing just incredible toughness and composure under fire. He battled back in the second round, using his relentless pressure and superior grappling to really tire Poirier out. By the third round, Oliveira's strategy had paid off. He quickly took Poirier's back, locked in his signature rear naked choke, and forced the tap. He had successfully defended his title against one of the best fighters in the world, silencing a lot of doubters in the process. This victory was a powerful statement. It proved that his championship win was no fluke. He was a legitimate and dominant champion who could overcome adversity at the highest level of the sport. His reign was real. His next challenge, though, came with controversy. He was scheduled to defend his title against Justin Gaethje, but Oliveira missed weight by half a pound. As a result, he was stripped of the lightweight championship. It was a heartbreaking moment, a setback caused by the same weight-cutting issues that had plagued him early in his career. Despite losing the belt on the scale, he still had to fight. He entered the cage against Gaethje with the strange reality that only Gaethje could win the title. Oliveira responded to this adversity with one of the most thrilling performances of his career, submitting Gaethje in the first round after a wild back-and-forth brawl. Although he was no longer officially the champion, everyone knew who the best lightweight in the world was. This led to a showdown with Islam Makhachev for the vacant title in October 2022. On that night, Makhachev's dominant wrestling proved to be just too much, and Oliveira was defeated via submission. It was a tough loss that ended his incredible winning streak, but true to form, Oliveira did not let the defeat define him. He returned to the octagon with renewed focus, securing a spectacular first-round knockout over the highly ranked Beneil Dariush. This win proved that he was still at the top of the division and ready to climb the mountain once again. After his commanding victory over Beneil Dariush, Charles Oliveira, was firmly back in the title picture. His journey, however, hit another bump in the road with a razor-thin split decision loss to the formidable Arman Tsarukyan at the historic UFC 300 event in April 2024. It was a hard-fought battle that really could have gone either way, showcasing the elite level of competition at the top of the lightweight division. A loss like that could dishearten a fighter, but for Oliveira, it was just another piece of his story. He absorbed the lesson, and with his characteristic resilience, immediately set his sights on the next challenge, proving his hunger for greatness was as strong as ever. His path back to a title shot was confirmed with a crucial fight against a familiar foe, Michael Chandler, at UFC 309 in November 2024. In a highly anticipated rematch, Oliveira once again demonstrated his evolution and superiority, earning a hard-fought victory. This win solidified his status as the #1 contender and erased any doubts about his place at the apex of the division. He had faced adversity, stumbled, but had risen again, proving that his spirit was unbreakable. The victory set the stage for another chance to reclaim the throne he felt was rightfully his, a throne vacated by Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight. Now a new and exciting challenge awaits. This Saturday, June 28, 2025, Charles Oliveira is scheduled to fight for the vacant UFC lightweight title once more. His opponent is the undefeated and fearsomely confident Ilia Topuria, who has moved up from featherweight to seize this golden opportunity. The bout will headline the massive UFC 317 card in Las Vegas. Once again, Oliveira finds himself in a familiar position, the underdog. The odds are stacked against him, with Topuria entering as a significant favorite. But for a man who has made a career of defying expectations, this is comfortable territory. This fight represents more than just a chance to win back a belt. It is the next chapter in an epic saga of perseverance. Oliveira is not just fighting Topuria. He is fighting for his legacy, for his family, and for the people of Brazil. He carries the hopes of millions on his shoulders every time he steps into that cage. His focus is sharp, and his mindset is clear. He knows what it takes to win on the biggest stage because he has done it before. The world will be watching to see if the comeback king can produce one more magical performance and once again have gold wrapped around his waist. What makes Charles Oliveira such a special and beloved fighter is his unique and thrilling style. At his core, he is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master, arguably the most dangerous submission artist the sport has ever seen. He holds the UFC record for the most submission wins, a staggering testament to his expertise on the ground. His ability to find a choke or a joint lock from almost any position is just unparalleled. Whether he is on his back, in a scramble, or in top control, his opponents are in constant danger. His anaconda chokes, guillotine chokes, and rear naked chokes have become the stuff of legend. But to label Oliveira as just a grappler would be a massive mistake. Over the years, he has evolved into a complete and terrifying offensive force. The turning point in his career really coincided with the development of his striking. He transformed from a fighter who used strikes to set up takedowns into a man who can end the fight with a single punch or knee. He fights with relentless forward pressure, a style known as Muay Thai shoot box. He walks his opponents down, cutting off the cage and overwhelming them with a barrage of attacks. This constant pressure forces his opponents to make mistakes, which he then capitalizes on with ruthless efficiency. His fighting style is the perfect blend of technical brilliance and raw aggression. He is willing to take a punch to give one, confident that he can withstand the damage and deliver a more decisive blow. This fearlessness makes his fights incredibly exciting. Fans know that when Charles Oliveira is in the octagon, a finish is likely. He also holds the UFC record for the most finishes overall, a combination of his many submissions and knockouts. This record speaks volumes about his killer instinct. He is not there to win on the scorecards, he is there to end the fight. This unique combination of elite jiu-jitsu, relentless pressure, and proven knockout power makes him one of the most difficult puzzles to solve in all of MMA. Opponents have to worry about his dangerous hands on the feet, and if the fight goes to the ground, they are entering his world. This dynamic and fan-friendly style, coupled with his inspirational backstory, has made him a global superstar. He is a fighter who truly embodies the spirit of martial arts. A constant quest for improvement and a commitment to finishing the fight with skill and honor. As Charles Oliveira prepares for the next chapter of his career, his legacy is already secure. He is more than just a collection of records and titles. He is a symbol of hope, a living testament to the power of perseverance. His story, from the favelas of Brazil to the pinnacle of the UFC, is one that resonates with people all over the world. He is a hero to the underprivileged, a champion for anyone who has ever been told that their dreams were out of reach. His nickname, Do Bronx, once a simple reference to his humble beginnings, is now a badge of honor, representing strength, resilience, and triumph over adversity. His impact on the sport of mixed martial arts is undeniable. He holds some of the most impressive records in UFC history, the most finishes, the most submissions, and the most performance bonuses. These statistics paint a picture of a fighter who has consistently delivered thrilling and memorable moments. He has carried the torch for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, adapting its traditional principles for the modern MMA era and proving its continued dominance. He has inspired a new generation of fighters in Brazil and beyond, showing them that it is possible to achieve greatness no matter where you start. Beyond the octagon, Oliveira's legacy is also defined by his character. He remains a humble and gracious man, deeply connected to his roots and his faith. He is a devoted family man who has never forgotten where he came from. He often speaks of his desire to help his community and to provide a better life for those around him. This humility makes his achievements even more inspiring. He is a champion of the people, a man who wears his heart on his sleeve and fights with a passion that is infectious. His emotional post-fight interviews have become legendary, offering a glimpse into the soul of a true warrior. Looking to the future, Charles Oliveira's determination burns as brightly as ever. Whether he wins or loses his next fight, his mindset remains the same: to keep moving forward, to keep fighting, and to keep believing. He has already conquered challenges far greater than any opponent in the cage. His journey is a powerful reminder that the human spirit is the most formidable weapon of all. The story of Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira is not just a sports story, it is a human story. It is a story of hope, faith, and the unbreakable will of a boy from the Bronx who became a king.